is that? That's the meetings. I see Joe smirking here, so he knows. That's the secret meetings. We have secret meetings. Your elected officials go into secret meetings. And they talk to each other about what they want to do and what they really believe and how they're going to go about achieving those goals. And they have these meetings immediately before the public meetings. And when they go down to the floor, as we call it, in order to, quote, debate, the whole thing is theater. Because everybody already knows how everybody's going to vote, what, you know, it is completely orchestrated. Now, how does that orchestration take place? Well, there's a committee process, right? So I give a bill on driver's licenses, it goes to Transportation Committee, there's a chairman of the committee, the Republicans are in charge of the House, so it's a Republican chairman, Republican votes control that committee. In theory, I come before that committee, as I did, and I say, hey, this is a bill we should pass, it's a good conservative bill, it's gonna keep illegals out of the state of Ohio, let's go, let's go, let's go. And they say, well, thank you very much, but nothing really happens, and why not? Well, because the only way that bill can come out of committee is if it's put up for a vote. And the only way it can be put up for a vote is if the chairman of the committee calls it for a vote. If the chairman of that committee doesn't call it for a vote, I don't care if every Democrat and every Republican on that committee wants it, if the chairman doesn't call for a vote, there's no vote. Wow. Now, how does the chairman decide whether to call for a vote? He goes to the Speaker's office. And the Speaker of the House and the establishment, the folks running the Republican Party say, well, do we like this bill? Do we not like this bill? Do we like the driver's license thing or not like the driver's license thing? Well, and I don't have, we'll go through all the debate. We really want that Hispanic vote, or all those issues come up, and they decide that this is a good thing or a bad thing. And so the chairman says, nah, not so much, Mr. The Speaker says to the chairman of the committee, we really don't want to vote on that bill. And it's not just that because we don't want to vote it down either, right? Because if they bring it up for a vote and your representatives vote it down, you're all like, what? They voted down driver's licenses? Of course we don't want. So they don't want to vote on it. They don't want to vote it down. They don't want to vote it up. They don't want to vote at all. You know how many times Barack Obama voted president? Okay, they don't want to vote at all. So the Speaker in his office makes the decision. Now, how does the Speaker make his decision? Who does he talk to? The governor, sure. Now the governor, some people think the governor's running for governor. You think the governor's running for governor?
No.
Well, he's running for governor, but he might have some other ideas too. It's a funny thing how the convention's coming to Ohio, So, do you really want what amounts to an anti-illegal immigration bill passed through the legislature and put on the governor's desk a few months before his election? Well, I do, and you do, and that's why you should be calling the Speaker's office, but they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So, that's the reality of how the system works. Nothing happens in the legislature without approval from the highest authorities.
Do I get to add one thing to that, Matt?
Yeah, sure, if you're not afraid to.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to. And it should also be noted that the chairman of the committees serve strictly at the pleasure of the Speaker.
Yes.
They are appointed unilaterally by the Speaker. That, in fact, is true of all the committee members. The Speaker can just remove a member of the committee at will, and they can remove the chairman of the committee at will. The Speaker can just call the chairman and say, you're out. We're making this guy the chairman. Oh, you're off the committee too. We're going to replace you with Representative X. And it's that. So in other words, the chairmen know that they cross the Speaker, they're out.
They're out. That's right.
They're literally out right that second.
And by the way, if they're chairman, they get more money.
That's right.
And not that anybody's doing this for the money, but they get more money. And of course, if you cross the chairman, as Joe says, and they're just going to appoint somebody else who's going to do it anyway. This is what you're, well, I don't like it, but if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it anyway, so I might as well just go along with it. You know, when this whole, you'll recall, I know the Medicaid expansion fight we had down in Columbus that we thought we won, but we didn't really win because of the controlling board, right? Well, you may have noted that the controlling board members, a couple of them, I think there were two, at least one, maybe two, were swapped out at the last minute.
Right.
Because the members of the controlling board said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go against all these people and pass Medicaid expansion. Oh, okay, well, you're off. You're done. And we'll stick on somebody who will do it. So the ability to control the process is absolute. And as a result, it can be absolutely corrupt. If ever in the state of Ohio, we actually had cameras in the caucus room, we would change the world. Yes. Kim, great. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Second part, just a heads up. As many times as I've been to Columbus through the years giving testimony on legislation about illegal immigration, we are always outgunned. I mean, you know yourself, we have a state commission that fights for illegal aliens.
That's right.
And then we have LULAC in Ohio.
That's right.
And it's just umpteen organizations that will be in there, and normally when there's someone there giving proponent testimony, there may be 6 of us, that's it. That's it. They have to hear from you, whether it's illegal immigration issues or whatever piece of legislation, and if you can't go to Columbus, contact the chair and you see about emailing them your testimony in either support of it or if you oppose it, but they have to hear from you.
And they have to hear that very simple, very civilly stated, but clearly stated. If you won't support this bill, or for instance, if you won't vote to repeal Common Core, if you won't vote for the heartbeat bill, if you won't vote to take away driver's license from illegals, then I'm not going to vote for you, because that's ultimately the only thing they care about. And you're exactly right. You know, when the part of the problem is government is so big, right? It's huge. So every issue has some government agency that you're paying for who's coming to that same committee and arguing the other side. And of course, when you go back home, after you've given your testimony, of which you might get 10 or 15 minutes if you're lucky, and you go home, guess what? That agency, they have their office right across the street in Columbus. And you go home, but they're going to visit those legislators in their offices saying, oh, we really, what they said back there in that committee, that doesn't mean anything. What you really need to do is this, because this is what we need, this is what we think is best. And they're the experts, after all. They're a director of nonsense, and therefore they know what's best. And they get paid with their money, that's exactly right. Kim?
So this crazy system that we're talking about where the speaker gets to appoint all these committee leaders and committee members and can
Swap them out, yes.
swap them out. How does that system get changed?
Yeah.
Is that a state government thing or is that a party problem?
Well, there have been a lot of late night drinking sessions in Columbus talking about that. Sure. The only way you really fight back against the caucus system, which is what this really is when you can get a group of elected officials who just say they won't play that game. And there has to be enough that they can control the vote. So in Columbus, for instance, in the Ohio House, 99 members of the House, 60 Republicans. We can do whatever we want, but they still have to have 50 votes to pass anything. So if you can get 10, 12, 15 hardcore, I don't care if you're going to give me money for the election or not, I'm going to vote this and that way, then you can whittle away at the caucus system. Yes.
And that's what I was going to mention because those caucuses control a lot of the funding for the candidates. And
Yeah.
especially if
Almost
you
all
have,
of
Yeah.
a first-time candidate and they're running and they're getting a ton of help from the caucus. We have to support them, but we also have to be, kind of leery, is that the word, of, who's going to be controlling them once they're in.
Well, that's exactly right. The ORAC, which is the Ohio Republican Caucus fundraising political arm, I don't know how much they'll have in this go around, probably 12 million, 15 million, something like that. And they divvy that up among the various state representatives.